Greetings, fellow Demon Slayers. This is Taimanin Mari here today with another Action Taimanin video. For today, we do have Ark on the call, and we just want to kind of talk to you guys about the Arena Tower and kind of like help people to kind of what do I want? What's the word I want to use? Make their expectations more realistic. Because right now,
Realistic.
people are coming into Tower thinking it's going to be like some sort of story event or some sort of like main quest event or frickin' daily quest where they're going to come in and one shot the content and get their rewards and go on about their day, and that's not really what's happening. People are kind of getting like this the rude awakening of, oh crap, this is actually hard. So we want to
Yeah,
talk about why that is actually a good thing, because some people seem to think the content is bad overall, and it's not bad content in any way, shape, or form. So it's gonna just be a discussion vid about that more than
yeah,
not.
because I think there needs to be a bit of air cleared with the tower because there's so many people who just think that the tower is just the same as any other content in the game. Get it done, get out, whatever, or like an event, where everyone's meant to clear it. The fact of the matter is, the easiest way to say it in this context, and again, it sounds elitist because there's nothing you can say about it that doesn't sound elitist when it talk about endgame content like this. This is your super boss right now. This is your Final Fantasy 14, or not Final Fantasy 14, but Final Fantasy 10 super boss. This is your. You fought. If anyone's played Final Fantasy 10, they know exactly what I'm talking about. Where, for example, if you fight Sin at the end of the game, or Jekt, or whoever the final boss will be at the end of the game, it's not. It's all Final Fantasy 7 Sephiroth, for example, like that.
It's
Like it's
Braska's
nothing.
final
Yeah,
Aeon. That's what it's
yeah,
called.
yeah. It's nothing. Yeah, but the fact is, it's nothing comparison to a super boss. For example, with you can go fight Sephiroth at the end of Final Fantasy VII with your party that you've got then, but you go fight Ruby Weapon, you're not gonna get past like his second attack. He's gonna use Ultima on you and hit you for 9,999 damage, and you can be loading out your game. It's that exact thing. Just because you can clear content and you've got, say, like for example, 55k CP Yukikaze, you're not going to clear tower with that, or at least without a lot of struggle. And that's the main issue, because people seem to be sitting there with, say, for example, like your 55k MLE or Yukikaze or whatever, and they're sitting there and they're going, "Oh, I can clear tower," and then they get a rude awakening from tower, and then they sit there and complain about, "Oh, you're using characters that are overpowered or whatever." It's like, no, the tower can be cleared with anybody. The fact of the matter is that I've no doubt about that. For example, shout out to Sin. Not Sin, Shin, sorry. Is it Shin? Yeah, I think his name's
Yeah,
Shin, isn't it?
Shin. Shin
Yeah, who
Ein.
cleared. Yeah, Shin An. Who cleared tower all the way up to floor 49 with Shiranui, who is widely accepted as just the worst character who ever stepped foot into the video game ever. Um, like, she makes
Ever. People were talking about
magic.
her actually in the server last night, and they were saying she's like out of all the action games they've played, she's the worst thing they've ever played.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna say shit. I'm only shitting out there for the meme. Don't worry, I'm not gonna say the shit of that. But the fact of the matter is, if he can do up to there with Shunui, and I had no doubt that he could have cleared floor 50 with Shunui, but though he used another character after Shunui died or something, I imagine he probably got sick of trying or whatever, because it does take a couple of times. I have no doubt that he could have cleared using nothing but Shunui. I have no doubt of that. But the fact of the matter is, I guarantee if you look at the CP and Shin, if you can, please post your fucking Shiranui in fucking in Mari's server. I'd love to see what CP she is, but because I guarantee she's probably still sitting around about 80k, the same as most of the characters who can clear the tower is. And that's the problem. Is like, honestly, I would say if your character is not at least 75k CP, don't even look at the tower. You're gonna have a bad time. It's
Yeah,
just as simple as that. There's no way to not be elitist to it, because this content is elitist content.
and it's like the
And
content, like it's not something, because I mean I could see the frustration, because like if I go, because I'm kind of dicking around in my menus just doing my waifu war daily while we talk. But if you look at the tower, like yeah, floor 50 and floor 49 give these nice UR upgrades. But like if you can get to like say we'll use the wall that everyone, like a lot of people get stuck at. Floor 35, the freaking Tempest, the spider tank. If you're getting up to Tempest, that's not a bad run. Like you got all these gotcha coins, you got upgrades for your awakening. Like you shouldn't feel bad about yourself for just getting up to Tempest. Like no one should feel bad about where they get, because if you can get to say floor 35, that's not bad. If you can get to floor 45 and get stuck at Astaroth and Noah on 46, it's not bad. Like I know where the frustration comes from. It's that people they want the ultra rare. They want that reward.
Yeah,
And that when they
like
see that they're not getting it, then it's gonna like kind of annoy them or make them angry, which is understandable.
yeah. People have essentially sat there and they're treating like any other content in the game, where they're gonna get it, clear it, get out. Like they're treating like an event almost, where it's like, okay, yeah, events like they might be a bit challenging, but everyone can do them. No, I'm sorry, everyone can't do this content. It's meant for the people who have sat there and they've grinded out for the last fuck knows how long. Like even respectively, any global player realistically, if you can get to say floor 40, you've overdone most expectations of what's actually expected of a global player at this point. Because remember, we are a year behind now. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. As soon as they added the JP players to our server, we are a year behind.
Literally,
That
like
Yeah, like we are. I think it's actually just essentially like just over a year. We are just like we literally went to sleep on the what was it, the third or whatever.
yeah,
Third.
last Monday, just basically a
Yeah,
week ago.
we went to sleep on the third and did a Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and woke up essentially a year. That's what we did. We went to sleep and woke up with a year's time passed in the game. That's why if you go to the PvP ladder, you see all these Japanese players with the supports that we've never had a chance to get, with skins we've never had a chance to get, with weapons that we probably don't even have well, yeah, there are some weapons that we haven't never even had a chance to get as well. You see all this, and they are using all this to clear tower. Like for example, the supports that give 30% more melee damage and so forth. Like there's one I think that gives 30% more machine damage or something like that. I believe Shin talked about the other day. The point of the matter is, we are all behind now. Any global player is behind, but we are sharing the same content and the same server with Japanese players.
So that
And
content isn't really meant like
yeah,
for us unless you've been hardcore or whaled. Like
yeah, like they see the problem is why in the sense of like they see, for example, Mari do it. Now, at the end of the day, Mari's been a day one player, and then the problem is a 3 month long player will come along, try it, fail, or a day one on and off player, that hasn't been playing a lot since day one, but they've been playing since day one. They come along, fail, and then they'll start raging about saying, like you've had a few people say essentially like your videos are essentially false advertising for what characters can do because of how built they are. Quintus, that's the gist of some of the messages you've got. Am I right?
yeah, basically.
And the problem is, like, no, you're not there to say that it's there, but you're there to say it can be done. It's more of a this is what can be achieved rather than this is what everyone should strive to achieve. Because the fact of the matter is, guys, we're behind. We're behind a year. There's no saving carriage coming for us or anything like that. In a
There's no
year's time,
carriage. We're
yeah,
literally
yeah,
we're literally just in the boonies without a prayer.
yeah,
And you know what,
yeah,
guys? Like, if you want to know the truth, like when I go in arena, my team gets one shot.
yeah. Like,
Like,
if you want to know the
so
truth, as soon as we come across a JP player who's got that fucking like 25k CP team that's stupidly powerful, that has 3 fucking shoes, whatever you want to call it, whatever the name is, we hit the surrender button because there's no point even sitting there for the next minute and a half or whatever watching your party die. There's no point because you're going to die. You don't have a chance. You never stood a chance as soon as you click the play button.
and that's
And
that's just the fact. And then on top of it, there's the supporters we just don't have. There's a lot of
yeah,
like high DPS supporters that like JP has, and they have doubles of in some cases that we've
yeah,
not seen at all in our version that they can use to tackle tower. And that's
yeah,
another misconception is some people seem to think attack, like just straight up raw attack stats, are something like Emily is going to clear tower. Emily is not a good character for tower. She was great before, but she's not great in tower.
yeah. Emily's meant for your daily autoplay button. That's the harsh reality of it is. I don't care if you're an Emily fan, anything like that. The harsh reality of it is Emily is the autoplay button. You can put fucking zero systems on her and she will clear she will clear content that isn't meant for player interaction. Something like your daily where you can clear it with Emily probably what, a minute or something like that with zero systems just by clicking the autoplay button
Yeah,
essentially.
just throw her in there and let
Uh,
her farm. You can
yeah,
do like story mode and you can do events with her if you interact with her and even time attack. If you decide that you want to interact and use her, she can do that content with ease. But the tower, she's just not. Just
Yeah,
simply her movement isn't meant for how sporadic and fast the tower is. So I know
but
all
when
those
you
people who leveled their Emily are probably like not too happy because she's not just running them through tower without thinking.
yeah, when you actually just have to take a step back and look at it and realize that, and when you realize that Emily is the autoplay button, there's no getting around that. The very fact that she has zero systems of how she works means that she is the autoplay button. I'm sorry for any hardcore Emily fans. She is the autoplay button. And when you're trying to create content that requires constant micro movements, constant micromanaging, like Tower does, the autoplay button is not going to cut it there, buddy. I'm sorry. Like, but even then, even a well-built Emily will probably still get you through Tower. I have no doubt about that. A well-built, well-played Emily will clear Tower.
Yeah,
But that
anything
goes
can clear tower. Though that one that Cygnus on our server, he soloed the whole tower. Like he actually only used Asuka. He
yeah.
cleared the whole tower as Asuka.
Asuka doesn't even have a heal in her kit, so credit to that guy.
And he beat
Like,
my time. Like I beat the final floor in I think 3 minutes 31. He did it in 3:17. So
yeah, so it is one of those things where credit to that guy, he shows that, it's possible. Don't sit there and go, oh, blah, blah, blah. No, if you're, like, go do the content rather than complain about the content in that regard. But it is just one of those points where the harsh fact of the matter is, it's just, we are not geared enough to do this. Our accounts aren't essentially old enough. We aren't geared enough. We can't clear this content yet.
and I actually had someone say to me that the tower's only beatable by Yuki and Morisaki. That is 100% false.
No, that's utter bullshit.
They're really
There's,
good, but
yeah, yeah,
they're not.
good. Their character's not good, but Murasaki's only good because she has sustain. And the thing is, what makes me really pissed off about everyone bitching about Murasaki being good for the tower, let's just be blunt about this, okay? Before tower, nobody gave Murasaki the fucking time of day. Now all of a sudden, tower's good, tower's good. Everyone's saying, oh, Art, you're cheap, you're using Murasaki. It's like, I've been using her for like 6 months, right? Before the tower, before the bus, before everything. I've literally sat there and I've been one of the biggest advocates of using Murasaki for the longest time. And now people are calling me cheap because there's one content in the game that is actually optimal for clearing it. Fuck off.
You said fuck off. Yeah, you
Yeah,
have. You've been using Morisaki since she came out. You were literally waiting for her. Like that first
yeah,
3 months up until Christmas, and then she
yeah.
finally came out and you got her.
It would literally be like if at this regard, it's literally like if Kurara came out and ended up being really overpowered and people bitched at Mari for using her. It's like, no, he's already said he's going to use her regardless of how good or bad she is. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
that's why I made a point before her gotcha to show that clip from that video months ago. I was like, yeah, Kirara's going to be the biggest simp in my career, or whatever I
Yeah,
said, to
but
show that this
back
wasn't just like an out of nowhere thing. Like I was meaning to simp for her before she was ever announced.
but back to the subject at hand though.
Oh, now I
That
get
you
to
that you,
lose to a
that you touched
Japanese player. Lovely.
that you touched on a second ago. I believe you said attack isn't everything. And that's true. Like the tower, for example, yes, I agree. A good offense is a good defense and all that jazz, whatever. But when that Momochi's going to smack you in the face for 10k, all of a sudden taking 7k instead of 10k sounds very good when you consider he's got 2,500 health bars, doesn't it?
God,
That's
my joystick. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm trying to surrender an arena, and because it's just a Japanese player, I know there's no point, and my joystick is like acting up and was making it hard to hit the button. I was like, I'm not fighting this guy.
but like it's that type of thing where it's like this the defense supporters that really never got that much of a look in at all kind of come into their own on tower as well, because all of a sudden, what would you rather take? Would you rather take 5% more damage from one supporter or whatever, or would you rather have sustain, or would you rather take 30% less damage whenever you fuck up and get hit? Because the tower, you are going to fuck up and you are going to get hit. You're not going to have flawless runs. Yes, you might have a few floors that are flawless and do really well, but you're going to get hit. So look into defensive supporters. Look into supporters who can help you, that can heal you or give you more heals. Look into your character's sustainability, because almost all of them, I can't think of any that don't, except for Asuka, that don't actually have a heal in their kit of some regard. So, like, these type of abilities, yeah, you might not want to run, say, for example, is it like Red Asagi or something that has a heal? I'm not sure. You might
What?
not, yeah, Blue Asagi, sorry. For example, I'm looking at that. You might not want to run Blue Asagi, but that 5% restored by her hit by that damage, by that ability, looking pretty tasty when you actually realize that that 5% restore is going to be like 10k heal when you crit.
Yeah, because these bosses in tower, they're gonna have
Yeah,
2,500 health bars. Like you're not just
yeah,
gonna go in there and
like
two-shot them. It's just not
yeah,
possible.
like the problem is people are bitching at Murasaki, because she can heal for high amounts. So for example, she can get like a 10, 20k heal when she crits really hard. Fact of the matter is, everybody can get those amount of heals if you spec into their heal, with the exception of characters who don't have a heal. That's the thing. Like, just because you're not specking into the heal, you're complaining that you're not being able to clear with content or whatever. Everybody has these type of heals. You know, even Emily. Like, I think Marisol, when I was using Emily in the tower, and I hit healing field, I was healing for like 2 or 3k a tick, and it was just like two. It's like 3k, 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 3. You're full health. And it's like, okay, cool. And you essentially have unlimited health at that point.
True.
Like,
And then
everyone
they have
has.
to remember, like supporters that you guys like may have overlooked, like Nanami, is really good. Like, because I don't want to name anything that's like, because if I name Kirara, people will say she's a whale supporter. But I mean, it's true that in that regard too, because Kirara gives you defense, and she gives you amount of HP restored, increased. So anyone who pulled Kirara, they're in a good place for tower, but they wouldn't have known that, when pulling
Yeah,
her, because at the time that those type of supporters were bad. But things like Nanami help. Things like Yuna, which everyone starts their account with a Yuna. She's just a super rare that increases your healing.
yeah. It's like, again, Rinko. Like, Rinko has a heal, 5% heal on a blue on one of her abilities. Let me have a look. I know that Sakura has one. I think Sakura's actually pretty powerful. Is it like the spin or something like that, which was like a dot on the ground? Yeah, Shadow Spin. A quick little hit, 5% damage restored. Like, everyone's got sustain. And I'm sorry, but Tower, you need to use that sustain, because unless you're getting flawless runs every single time, like I don't even want to fathom how many times it took the guy to do it with Asuka, because she's the only character in the game with no sustain that I know of, at least. I don't know, does Obra have some? I'm pretty sure Obra has some. But the point of the matter is, like, it's one of those things where finally sustain builds come into their own, and that's all there is to it, really. Like, you've got to run a sustain, but you've got to run things that are going to keep you alive. And no, Obro doesn't have any sustain either by looks of it. I had to quickly look in. I might be wrong, but the
Does
point
she
is
not?
though, no, I don't think so. I had a quick little look, but I might have missed something. But I don't. But I believe she's also like Asuka, where she doesn't have any sustain either. But yeah, like any character with sustain, if you spec into their sustain ability, you're gonna find that you're gonna be sitting there going, "Oh, I cleared that content." Yeah, because when you crit and you've got a full built character, like I said, because you shouldn't really be in the tower with less than say 75k, 80k CP. When you crit with those abilities with that type of CP, you're gonna hit like 100, 200,000 damage, especially if you've got like certain builds on you and whatever. And then you sit there and you realize, oh, I just healed 30,000 health because you've got a, let's say for example, you're running a red healer build or whatever, and you've got, say for example, is it Yuzara or whatever? That's that event spot that gives
Oh yeah, that's
additional.
another one I forgot to mention. Yuzora.
Yeah,
Again, people
yeah,
kind of slept on her, but if you
yeah,
have her, she can heal
yeah.
you
You've got
and
it's
stun.
just yeah, just having her in your build gives you a 64% more healing. So, oh, that 100k you hit, okay, that's 5k healed. Oh, you've got her with you. Cool, that's 7.5k you've just healed for doing one attack with, say, Rinko or Asagi or something like that. And it adds up very quickly. And that's what I mean, like, any character can clear it, but you've got to look at your build. You can't just run a sheer DPS build and bash your head against the content. It's kind of like the same problem people had on Monster Hunter with Fatalis. People were complaining about Fatalis' difficulty because they were running sheer DPS builds, trying to bash their head against the content like Team Darkside did, who were the speedrunners of that game, and complaining when they got beat the shit out of. And it's like, no, how about you look at those defensive skills? It's that type of thing.
And
And
it's an
again with
issue.
this,
Like I get it, because right now it's an issue of the game hasn't really challenged anyone. Like, and it hasn't challenged anyone to pull gotcha. Because let's face it, like with a little bit of like casual grind, like you don't even need to be an everyday player to beat an event on hard. If we think about it, you
yeah,
don't. And most people
easily
don't
clear it.
care about time attack because of the hackers. Like
Yeah,
and I don't even know what time attack looks like now that the Japanese players are here. Yeah,
I
now
don't know.
like I don't know
Probably.
if they're hacked now or if it's just actually the times because like Now they're all 30
Uh,
seconds, but they're all Japanese players. They might be legitimate times. But before it
yeah,
was filled with hackers, because I'm like showing
yeah,
time attack right now.
yeah. I'm going
But
through it as well.
yeah, it's
But
like all Sakura. Maybe
I know,
Sakura is
right?
good now. But like the
Yeah, we
point
need to
being
we need
is
to
like
revise her in fairness.
the point I was getting at is that nothing in the game challenged us before because no one cared about time attack, no one cared about arena, and now it's even more so. No one's going to care about arena or time attack because we're just not going to compete with the Japanese players. It's just sadly not going to happen. But the arena tower is literal PvE content that matters. So you have to realize that you've been kind of just for like lack of better words, you've been getting a free ass pass where, oh yeah, we're just throwing everything at you. You run this mindless content, you get a support. You run your mindless dailies, you get your items. You have to realize the tower isn't that. The tower is, for lack of a better word, to get good content. You
Yeah,
have
it's
to
like
dodge. Like you
that's
have
what
to
I mean.
borderline
Like,
not get hit.
yeah, that's what I mean. Like, there's no nice way of putting it. The tower, I said it to someone earlier in your Discord. The tower, there's no nice way of putting it. The tower is literally get good the content. There's no way to say it without sounding like an elitist prick. The tower is your late game content. The tower is your if you fuck up on some floors. You saw it on like Mario's stream. If you watch Mario's video when he was doing like the last part of the tower, on some floors there are just you mess, you fucked up, they pile you, bad ending.
Yeah, and I'll show you guys my Yukikaze again. She's not under geared, but I was just getting one shot.
Yeah.
Like you see
And
here,
that's
these
just
weapons are S level 5. They're done. Like this is completely done. I was too lazy to put Magatamas in the second weapon, but the first Magatamas are all completed. Like they have the optimal rolls on them. The rolls aren't max because I'm saving for Kirara. I need a new controller, but as you can see here, these are all
I
done.
do as well. Mine's
Yeah,
getting
my
old as well.
joystick drifts. It's really bad.
I've not got that, but I've got like the D-pad on my controller is like a bit really horrible. So when I press like down, it like double flicks or something like that. It's really annoying. But
But
yeah, like that
one
is
second,
the
Arc. But if you look at these supporters, you see that's S5. This is S5. This is S5. So it's not to brag about what's on my Yukikaze, it's to say this type of character with this gear was blowing up on floor 49. Like they were killing her, they were one-shotting her. So if that's
yeah.
the case, you just have to accept that the content is really hard. And there are people who are grinding it who are way under geared and getting through it. I've seen some people on my Discord posting 23-minute clears because they actually
But
sat there and learned the fight and didn't get hit for that long or did whatever they had to do to survive for that long. So they're like, yeah, I was clearing content in like between 3 to 5 minutes on every floor. There are
like
people out there doing it in 20 minutes and still getting
o-
through.
on the subject of say a 20-minute clear or something like that, okay? Because there are some people who like kind of talk down to those people that do have 20-minute clears. I want to get this out the air right now. A clear is a fucking clear. It doesn't matter if it
Yeah,
took you 1 minute, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, or an hour.
and
You
honestly,
cleared.
someone who clears
Job.
in 20 minutes is better than me. I can't survive for 20 minutes running around.
Yeah, it's
Like,
literally that case.
like what?
Like, I don't care how long it took you. If you cleared this content, give yourself a pat on the back because this content is not meant for everyone. This is, as I said, like if you go into it at with, say, for example, a 30k character, a 50k character, I would essentially equivalent that to essentially doing like a level 1 boss run of a again like a Final Fantasy game or something like that. You are going in deliberately undergeared. You might not know it, but you are going in undergeared. If you clear, congratulations, you cleared. But so I'm not going to devalue that. I'm not going to say anyone who cleared it a long time is taking the piss from like that. No, you cleared, congratulations. But the fact of the matter is, the problem is when people, and you've had a few of the people come up to you and say, as I said earlier, people are messaging you saying like, "Oh, you're giving false information," or "Oh, you're not showing how hard the content is," or anything like that. We are. We have stressed almost in every video. This content is ridiculously hard, and it's not meant for every player.
And as far
When
as
we
Yuki
say that,
Kaze, in the very first tower video I did, I said that I have wailed. And while I haven't specifically ever wailed for Yuki, she just ended up really geared.
yeah,
Because it
it's
seems like her drops love me. So,
yeah,
like, I always say when I showcase my Yuki, this isn't like a common occurrence. Most people don't have a
yeah.
Yuki with S5 gotcha everything.
Yeah, it's like my Sakura has S5 Phantom Knife and now S5 sorry S4 hunter's knife. It's not an occurrence. I just ended up with those because I've pulled so much. And you even saw it. I deliberately just. I've had like what 2 extra phantom knives thrown at me since I've had an S5 phantom knife. It's just annoying
Every time I
because
watch you pull, a phantom knife seems
yeah,
to pop up.
because phantom
It's like,
knife
here you
is
go.
because phantom knife is Sakura's probably worst weapon. It's fucking terrible.
You know what I was
But
just thinking?
I have
Phantom knife might actually be good now because of the new scaling.
no, no. You know what I saw, and I think I put it in your Discord earlier. With that new ticket to improve weapons, I can get a S5 hunter's knife for Sakura. That has 5.2k crit built into it.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's disgusting. So yeah, like it's pretty fucking disgusting that weapon. But like the thing is, it is meant for super built, super geared characters, and it's just there's no way about it. You can't get around without sounding like a pompous dick who's being an elitist douche. It is a case of your characters aren't geared enough. We're sorry in that regard. We can't say, oh, you could just do this to cheese it. No, there's no cheese because as Mari said, if you fuck up once, you get hit. Even in CP 80k character, you're going to be stagger killed. You're just going to be killed to fuck. Like for example, my Murasaki's tanky as fuck. Don't get me wrong, but Mari saw it when I was fighting. It was Kurenai, wasn't it? When Kurenai, she used the whirlwind on my Murasaki. My
Oh my
Murasaki
god.
survived it. At which point, Kurenai instantly knocked my Murasaki up again straight away, and everyone powered her, and I instantly died. As soon as I got hit from that whirlwind, I had no control of my character whatsoever. There's nothing I could do to regain control. It was just I got one shot by that whirlwind because everyone powered me while I CC'd, and then
It
I was
was
straight into
it
another
was
CC.
literally like a fighting game tournament juggle.
Yeah.
It
It's one of those things where like, there's nothing you can do in that regard. It's just that's how it is.
and it's just, like I also want to like this is the last thing I want to talk about. People saying it's bad content like someone wrote me and said that it's bad content for it's very anti-player content is what he said. It's not anti-player because this game needed content like this. Having
Yeah,
one piece of in-game content is good. I mean, more than one piece is even better. But this game had
yeah,
no in-game content. This game had brain dead dailies and events.
yeah.
So
There was
adding the
literally nothing
tower is a good
going.
thing.
Yeah, that's the problem. There was literally nothing before to keep you going. So in that regard, yeah, I definitely say the tower is overall a just an amazing thing that was definitely needed in the game,
Because what it's
and that's
doing
why I
is
like.
it's sorry.
Oh,
I was going to
no,
say
go on.
what it's doing is it's giving people like before we had nothing to work towards. Like now you have
Yeah,
a reason to maybe use your gems for gotcha. You have a reason to maybe finish those event supporters you may have been half-assing because the game was getting stale or boring. Like because I know a lot of people who like just don't do events because they're just burnt out. They'll get like one
yeah,
copy and call it. But now you have a reason to go those links because there's something to work for besides the pay to win arena. Because let's face it, no one cared about the arena before, we care even less now. And with the arena tower, it's like, oh, this is something to strive for. And if you have any sort of ambition about the game, you'll get through it. You'll strive to work your way up that tower. But the people who are more softcore are gonna complain and say it's too hard when it's not. It's meant to challenge the entire community. And yeah, it is skilled around the Japanese market, like the Japanese player base, but that doesn't mean we can't clear it. We just have to, you know, figure it out and get
yeah.
through it for whatever tools you have. And unfortunately, that's just specific to your account. Like I could tell you what I
It's
did, but if you don't have what me or Ark have, you have to figure it out. And people have
yeah.
been
It's
doing
like
that.
for example, I would also say in the tower, don't be afraid to try different things because it's one of those things where oh, there's no punishment for dying. You hurt your pride. That's it. One of the great things about AT, and I've said it for a while, is that there's no punishment for failure. You don't lose AP. You don't lose anything. Like you hurt your pride. That's it. For example, 435 it is that spider boss, isn't it? The one with the big one that everyone says is the wall.
The
I,
wall.
I how I beat that because I got sick to death of getting thrown about by the actual enemy because it does an attack that knocks you into the death field essentially. I used Mari. I was like, yeah, you can't knock me now, bitch, when I've got super armor. And I saw it fire the missiles, and I just used Mari's active. I just kept wailing away at it and tried to dodge the missiles because I knew when I got hit once, I wasn't going to be thrown into the death field and just kept being juggled into the death field. I used Mari, I got hit by a missile, and I was like, okay, it doesn't matter because you get the super armor. So don't be afraid to try different supports or different things that you never otherwise tried just because you sit there and go, oh, they've got a defensive ability. that defensive ability might be the thing you need, or might be the thing that that gives you that just little push to get that bit of content done. For example, I don't know how I would have cleared that content before doing the exact run that I did if I didn't have Mari, which essentially said no to being pushed back and knocked back by the boss. So
And what's
by all means,
really convenient is Mari is up to get right now because they're
yeah,
repeating her,
that's
and that's
yeah, that's
probably
specifically
like
why I
more the
called
reason
it
they put
Mari.
her up to
Yeah,
help have
because
people use her in tower.
yeah, it would be the same with I imagine with Kurenai's tornado, where everyone's complaining about getting knocked up by Kurenai's tornado. Try pocking Mari just before you see the tornado come out. You might not get knocked up by it anymore because it does give you super armor. And although super armor isn't in PvP, and there was no use for it before in PvE, we have a use for it now. Super armor is quite an important thing now when you consider that you're getting juggled to death by bosses, where if you had super armor, you wouldn't be juggled before. It's
And
that
then
type of thing. So
Mari's
don't be afraid to
passive,
try new strats.
now that I look at
Yeah.
her, her passive really reduces damage taken by 36% when debuffed or stunned.
Yeah, so even if you do get juggled, you've got a much better chance to survive. It's one of those things where don't be afraid to try new things because that new thing, as I said earlier, just might be that thing that you need to get pushed over the edge, or just might give you that extra little edge that you do. Like for example, if I had Mario equipped when Kurenai juggled the fuck out of me and just instantly fucking bad ended me, I
Bad
probably would have.
ended.
I probably would have lived because I have that much more. I would have it's essentially less. I think it's like 36, 48%, isn't it? Like that? It's quite essentially a 40% damage reduction where you're CC'd. What's wrong with that? It's amazing.
It is. And that's the point I'm trying to make. Like, there's a lot of supports here because I'm in my support screen. So, like this is a good passive. Even
Uh,
though it's tanky, like, reduce damage from all enemies by 30% and increase HP restored, that's really good for tower. Things like Nanami here, which she's generally
yeah.
overlooked. But Nanami is amazing in tower because she makes them drop potions more.
Yep.
You're actually getting heals. Like tower was real stingy with the heals because I wasn't using her. She
I
would have
outright used
helped.
an army. I will say that right now. I outright used an army on my Murasaki.
Yeah, I think
I,
Tak used her as his main,
yeah.
and he beat
Yeah.
450 with her.
I'll also say this that I think very fourth breaking. There's a storm coming in again, so it looks like I might have to go because obviously turn the computer off because of storms and all that jazz.
You don't. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll just stop the video here. You have any last
Um,
words before you go, or you have to go like now?
no, I'll say this because I've not been in a rumbles yet, but it's been like storming all day. So, um, realistically, don't be afraid to try new things on the tower. And some people just have to accept the fact that they are not built enough for tower yet. It's really, it sounds elitist, and I don't like it too. I'm sorry, but that's how the tower is designed.
And that's okay though, because it's not to like put you down. Like if you're not
Yeah,
built enough, that doesn't mean you can't get built enough. And this has
yeah,
been getting clear by free to play players. So don't think Mayuki Kaze is like the only way you'll get through it, or like Morisaki. Like free to plays are coming up with interesting builds and they are pushing through it. It just takes you really looking at what you have on your account and figuring out what you need to counter the content, because the content can be cleared by anyone regardless of what they've paid.
yeah. I'd also like to say this as well. If you are having trouble with a tower or something like that, and you want recommendations of how you could proceed and something like that, and you want us to be strictly honest with you about if you should clear it, and even if you've got low characters, we'll try and help you with what you've currently got. Get onto the Discord and just ask, hey guys, I'm having trouble with floor, blah 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 blah. Maybe post the enemy list for us. This is the build I'm using. This is what I've got available to me. Can you guys help me out? More than likely, there's going to be at least somebody there that's going to be able to help you. And heck, if I'm there or Mari's there, we'll sit there and say, for example, let's say you are under geared. We'll sit there and say, to be frank with you, you are under geared, but if you try this, 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 and this, you might have better. Might have better, better results.
Yeah, that
Because
Discord right now is
yeah,
people are really using it. Like people, I see people every day just throwing builds back and forth, throwing ideas, talking about tower, like talking about where they're stuck. And someone will say, "I'm stuck on floor 35," and there's always someone who's like, "Have you tried this?" Like I did this. Like so, it's definitely a melting pot of ideas that are just getting thrown around by various people, besides just what you hear on the YouTube channel. So the Discord is a good tool if you want to get through this content. Because even if you're stuck, it may give you an idea that you haven't tried yet.
yeah, that's that's one of the major things. It's just like don't be afraid to come on and ask or pop your build in and just be like, need help. You know, people in general can be mostly friendly with you. I can't think of anyone in the community that isn't at least trying to help. Even if someone gives like a bad advice, at least they're trying to help. And even if someone gives you bad advice, who cares? As long as you haven't wasted any resource like gacha coins or anything like that, they've tried to help. Don't get, I wouldn't be pissed at them if they've given bad advice and it's not like you've wasted any resources. You know what I mean? It's just, they've tried to help. If their advice worked, the advice worked. If it didn't, it didn't. And that's really what it is. It's just give it a go. Don't get disheartened if you can't do it, because I think that's really what it is. I think it's not so much as people are getting pissy, they're getting disheartened by the fact they can't clear it. But don't get disheartened. Give it a good go. If you've got, say, a 75k CP character and you still can't clear it, again, don't feel disheartened. Give it a good go, because a lot of the content, as you said in the later floors, is just, I hope I get that flawless run, because that's sometimes what it requires, especially at floor 49, floor 50, sorry, which has Sakura in. Which is literally the case of, I hope you kill Sakura first, because if you don't, you're gonna have a nightmarish time, because her
Yeah,
slow is just
49 has
horrible.
that going on too with the Yuki on that floor.
Yeah, yeah, 49. I was gonna say as well, Yuki with those balls of doom that chase you and deal like 5k damage whenever they hit you.
And they
It
multi-hit.
can get
Oh.
really hard. Yeah, it can get really, really hard, really hairy. And yeah, like that's why I say, if you tell us what floor you're stuck on, people will say prioritize Kurenai, prioritize Sakura, prioritize Yuki, because they are your characters that are going to give you the worst time of those runs and those floors.
So yeah, it's it is what it is, guys. And like I said, if you're disheartened, like I get it, because this is the first piece of actual PvE content where the rewards are worth going for. So I could see
Yeah,
people like, oh man, I could get an ultra rare upgrade and then like realize they can't clear floor 15 or whatever, wherever you're stuck at. But that's what the content is there for. It's meant to be something you work on. And I
like
know everyone's saying they don't think this resets, but I play a game called Magikami that also has a tower. And for those who don't know, um, I believe Taimanin Asagi Battle Arena, the other gacha game from the Asagi franchise, has just had a collaboration with Magikami. And, and basically, I think they kind of took the tower idea from them during the collaboration. I really do. So with that being said, I do think that it's going to be a monthly reset,
I
just
would
like the
also like to say as
Magikami
well,
tower. I could be
just on
wrong, but I don't think this is a one-time thing. I think it's going to keep coming back.
I would also say as well, just on the actual regard as well, if people are in trouble. When I first went to the tower, I had the expectation of, oh, it's whatever, it's content, I'll clear it. So I went in with my Asker. And I got hit like twice and realized that I had 1,000 health left, because at first I got hit twice, and I don't pay attention to numbers sometimes because I took it as like daily content.
Yeah,
And then after like the second time I got hit, I noticed the screen was red, and I was like, wait, what? I looked at my health and realized, what the fuck? And that's when I realized, oh, this is actual late game content. Fuck. And that was with like a 70k CP Asker. So just bear in mind on that. I'm not saying Asker's bad or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, for example, that's my experience when the first time I tapped the tower. So yeah, just it's meant to open your eyes. It's meant to be something to strive for and grind for. But above all, just remember that year that we've missed.
that
That's the big,
coma.
yeah, the coma
Yeah,
that all global players have just woke up from. That's the biggest kicker, because although some people are saying, "Oh, but we've only missed 3 supporters," what about the year's worth of daily logins? What about the year's worth of gems that they give? What about the year's worth of gacha tickets that they give? What about the year's worth of AP potions? It's that.
yeah,
What about the
we're
year's worth
just
of events?
behind. And
Year's worth of
unfortunately,
grind
we've been hyperbolic
dailies?
time chambered where we're just like, oh, we went to bed for one night and woke up a year later. This is the content
Like,
you're dealing with.
yeah, like for example, there was a guy that posted like someone's character, and they were a JP character, and they had 25 million gold. And it's like,
Oh
that's
my
probably
god.
just, yeah, that's probably like standard practice for a JP player. Whereas on global, we're still trying to, gold is still fairly scarce, because we need that shit.
Yeah, I
We
only
have
have 2
shit we
million.
need gold for. Yeah, like I literally just spent 1 million gold just then rolling Magatama. It's one of those things where we are still very gold scarce in global, whereas they've had a year to get their perfect Magatama. They've had they've had an extra year to get all this shit. So don't feel disheartened. Just get in there and keep bashing your head against that wall and try and get it cleared.
And even if
Because,
it takes you 50 minutes to clear a floor, realize, hey, you got through it, you got your rewards, and that's what matters at the end of the day.
yep, you can walk away with your head held high, regardless if it took you an hour to clear, that you fucking cleared.
And
You
if
are
you want to
you
share the
are
picture on the Discord, feel free, because no one's gonna crap on you. Like literally, there are people like, oh, it took me 28 minutes, and everyone just says grats.
yeah, a clear's
It's
a
like,
clear.
you got through
Like
it. Grats.
I I had one clear that was like 12 minutes, something like that. I think it was the actual machine because it took ages because I was original. Emily was in my first slot, and she was like pea shooting it most of the time. And I just said, not the most graceful win, but a win is a win, and it's true. A win is a win. Doesn't matter how long it took you. You won. You cleared. You got your reward. You're not going to get like the person who clears it in 2 minutes is not going to get any more extra reward than you do for clearing it in 30. It's as simple as that.
Yep, that's true. All right, I think it's a good place to end it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a good tower discussion. I hope it helps you guys, or it helps people who are feeling discouraged or angry about it. Kind of calm down a bit and realize, hey, this is the end game. This is what you're going to be prepping for. If you're not ready for it and it resets, maybe you'll be ready next month. Maybe you'll be ready the month after that. But now there's something to work towards in the game outside of Arena and Time Attack that actually has worthwhile awards. So,
All I'd say is just look at it as a super boss. Like,
yep, it
just
is.
that's what it is.
It's literally a super boss. It's a
Yep.
living, breathing tower with millions of HP. But yeah, I'm gonna end the video. Thanks for coming on, Ark. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Always fun.
And yeah, you guys, thanks for watching. If you sat through the whole thing, and you boys and girls, go ahead. Have good luck in your gotchas and in the arena. Good luck in the tower, and I do hope everyone clears it because the rewards are great. And if you're having trouble, like we said, just don't give up and keep trying. The content is beatable. And with that, you guys have a great rest of your day, and you all take care. I'll catch you tomorrow with another video. Bye bye.
Have the Kurenai hurricanes as you're walking down the street.